Okay, let me show you something. These are all 6 of the ICE-related shootings that have happened so far this year. Do you notice how all 6 of them have happened in Democratic areas? Here's a little breakdown of who runs those areas in case you don't believe me. So let's talk about why all this chaos is only happening in Democrat-ran areas. In the Republican areas like Florida and Texas, the local and state law enforcement are fully cooperating with ICE. When the police in those areas arrest an undocumented individual, they take them back to jail and then contact ICE and arrange a transfer. And in those areas, the entire deportation process happens behind closed doors. It's never out in the streets to begin with. And in those areas, their tactics are quiet, peaceful, and nobody gets hurt. But for some reason, all the Democrat areas refuse to do the same thing. The Democrat politicians in those areas have ordered their police departments to stop cooperating with ICE. So if Democrat police departments won't transfer the inmates to ICE, then ICE will show up at the courthouse and arrest them as soon as they are let free. Oh, no, that wasn't good enough for the Democrats either. That's when the Democratic lawmakers started resisting against ICE showing up at the courthouse, and that's when the Democratic judges started aiding and abetting undocumented individuals, causing ICE to have to go out into the streets to round these people up. That's when the same dumbass Democrats hopped on the news and told the people in their city to go out and resist against ICE. And those dumbass people decided to listen. First, they started doxing agents. Then the agents started covering their faces to prevent being doxed. That's when those same politicians started calling these agents armed masked men, causing even more dumbasses from that area to go out and protest. That's how you ended up with a large group of protesters out there blocking federal agents' paths, blowing whistles, throwing rocks at them, and other stupid shit. Next thing you know, a couple of dumbasses get shot for going out and doing dumbass shit, and then 1,000 more dumbasses show up. Because of that, ICE needed backup, so they had to send in even more agents to the area. And because of that, we now have these dumbass protesters out in the area setting up barricades. And they won't let people pass that barricade until they identify themselves and prove that they're not ICE. Does anyone else notice these strange similarities here? Border wall at the border of the country, trash can barrier at the border of the city. You can't come into the country unless you show your passport and are approved to enter. You can't enter a Democrat area unless you show your identification proving you're not ICE in order to be able to enter. These dumbasses basically created a system that's almost identical to the system that they are currently out protesting against. So if you don't fucking understand by now, liberals, you are the fucking problem, because it's the bad decisions of liberals and Democrats that put us in the situation we're in right now. If you would have cooperated at the police department like the rest of the country, the agents would have never had to gone to the courthouse. If you would have cooperated at the courthouse, the agents would have never had to go out into the streets. If you cooperated in the streets rather than going out and doxing people, they would have never had to call in backup. If ICE never had to call in backup, then the crowds of protesters would have never gotten so big. If the protesters that did show up remained peaceful and stayed out of the way, the officers would have never had to use force. But no, that's not what happened, and all of those bad decisions were made on purpose. Because if the agents never had to use force, then the Democrats wouldn't have anything to use to manipulate your emotions. And if they can't manipulate your emotions, well, then who's going to go out and do all their dirty work? So instead of going out into the streets and putting your life on the line, maybe you should stay home and do some research into why these Democrats are resisting in the first place. Mass deportations in sanctuary cities will cause a dramatic decrease in their population. That massive decrease in the population will be recorded in the next census, causing Democrats in sanctuary cities to lose seats within Congress. And since the Republicans already have the majority of the seats in Congress, if Democrats lose even more, then they'll lose all of their power.